Hey guys, it's me again with another knife review of the Kershaw Leek. Probably one of my favorite knives that I've ever owned, hands down. Pocket clip, great. Steel, great. Opening, great. Lockup, great. Everything. I really haven't ever seen anything about this knife that can be a downside. Some may argue that the fact that the tip of this knife is paper thin that was really dumb. Anyway, that the tip of this knife is paper thin, it's not going to be a very strong knife. Well, I guess that just means that it's not really meant for heavy use. It drives me crazy when I hear people like, oh, well, that's a, it's a terrible knife because it can't do this and it can't do that. Well, you can't buy a knife that isn't meant. It's like trying to, it's like the whole trying to unscrew something with a pair of scissors or a knife or something. Like, that's not what that. There's a tool for that, so don't use something that isn't made for that task. I don't understand their logic behind that argument. It's a gentleman's folder. If you're going to be using it for, hammering down through wood and making kindling or whatever for your fire, if this is going to be kind of a bushcraft knife for you, then, if that's what you're looking for, then you shouldn't look at the Kershaw Leek. You should probably look at like a fixed blade of some sort. That being said, those of you who know what a knife is or should be used for, judging on the blade style or anything else about it, you would know that this is a very nice gentleman's folder. The lockup, as I said, is ridiculous front to back. There's the slightest tiny amount from side to side, but there's really, it's not even noticeable unless you just sit there for 10 minutes trying to find it. The coating on this blade is sort of easy to scratch, not ridiculous. I like it. It's not on the pocket clip though, which is strange to me. It's on every single part of the knife except for the screws and the thumb stud, so why not just put it on the pocket clip too? Anyway, Kershaw says this knife is $100. You can pick it up at, again, Walmart for $50, give or take. Lanyard hole, just like almost every other knife in the world. I like how simple the double, like the extra safety on here is. It's this little thing that you can push up or down. You push it up, you push it down. And what it does, I don't know if you can see it since it's a black knife, but there's a little, see that bar on the bottom there? And you push this up, and the bar goes in front of the blade. That's where the blade would be. It's really hard to see since I have such a crappy camera. Anyway, but yeah, it's ridiculously simple, but it works amazingly since there's something blocking the blade from coming out. Good job, Kershaw. It's really easy to open with the little flipper. It's really tiny on the back, so I was like, oh, it's going to be a pain in the butt to try and flick open, but I've never had a problem with it before. Any way you try and flip it open, it opens all the way. There's nothing to, prevent that from happening. All the screws on it are those little Allen wrenches again. Pocket clip, you can tip up, carry, or tip down. It's punched for that. The blade steel is a steel that I have never in my life heard of. And I've got it right here, let me read it. It is 14C28N. 14C28N. I'm not sure what that even is. It says Sandvik, and then it has that 14C and C2 whatever. Never heard of it in my life. But it's ridiculously sharp. There's no resistance at all. If I can, and I've had this knife for a long time. There's nothing to stop this blade from cutting through whatever you're going to use your gentleman's folder for. Have I tried to cut wood with this knife? No, because that's not what it's for. Hopefully by now you get my point. Anyway, if you have sweatier hands, like sweaty palms, it kind of, you can wipe it off, but it doesn't really show up unless you really try to look at it under the light. It is a frame lock. Again, since the knife is black and I have a crap camera, you can't really see it, but frame lock knife. It's really, you can't, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of like detention trying to hold the blade in place, but you can't flick it out for the life of you. I've tried, because I was worried about that, because I don't like to use the little safety, but you can't, so whatever, I'm happy. It is not the most deep carry knife, because it stops right about here, so you've got about that much knife sticking up, which I like. I like a little knife to grab onto, to kind of lift up and pull out, and then you grab it and flick it out and do whatever. But that's just me. Blade length is exactly 3 inches. Closed length, exactly 4 inches. And overall length is obviously 7 inches. It only weighs 3 ounces. There's not much more I can say about the knife other than it's fantastic. Very sleek design. Maybe that's kind of an inspiration for the name Leek. I want to say that this is the largest whatever his last name is, design, but don't hold me to that. Oh, there it is, Kin Onion, yep. I want to say it's the biggest one, but again, don't hold me to it. Perfect knife for just an everyday EDC knife carry, whatever you want. It will fit in a watch pocket. It's completely in there. You can clip it on there if you want. Like I said, you get a little knife sticking out, which again I like, so you can grab onto it and flick it out and whatever. It's great. All in all, I would definitely give this knife 10 out of 10. Like I said, I have yet to find an issue with it. I mean, for what you should be using this knife for, you can't beat it. It's super sharp, and it's really lightweight, and it's comfortable. It's not, it doesn't hurt, and you've got, well, I have small hands, but you've got just enough handle to hold it down. And if you have bigger hands, then throw a lanyard on there, and then you could. But yeah, I've never had a problem with this knife. It's never opened up in my pocket, or I carry it back here on my behind my belt loop under my belt, but I've never had it open up on me. It's never closed when I was using it. I've never disengaged the lock. It does worry me that the blade is that thin, but I'm not a hard use kind of guy, at least not on this knife. Well, that's really it. At this point, I'm just repeating myself, but it's an amazing knife. It really is. For the money that you're spending, you know, 50 bucks, $45 to $55. Great knife. Absolutely love it. If it were up to me, though, I would get the Damascus blade. Same handle, just a Damascus blade. I love Damascus blade knives. They're by far my favorite steel. They're hard to sharpen, but once you get them sharp, they stay like that for a good long time. So, and if you're wondering, it's a flat grind Wharncliffe style blade. It's a pretty straight blade too. There's just a little bit of a curve right up here. You can see the model number and all that. Patented, and then down here it says SpeedSafe USA. That's about it. Thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe if you feel like it. More to come.